Welcome to today's forum titled The Evolution of Education-Based Athletics. We're diving into the evolution of high school athletics over the past 30 years, a journey marked by groundbreaking changes, rising challenges, and incredible opportunities. From advancements in technology to growing need for strategic planning, we'll explore how athletic directors are shaping the future of sports while navigating increased expectations from parents, students, communities. Let's spark some passion and innovation as we discuss what it takes to lead in this ever-changing landscape. So stay tuned. Super excited to have Steve Throne with us and Lamarr Glenn. Both of you, thank you so much for being with us today. And I just got to thank you both. I follow you guys both on social media, and you do so many amazing things for your kids and communities. I just appreciate both of you, not only for your roles, AD, but just your friendship. So thanks for being on today. Before we dive in today's episode, let's take a moment to recognize our presenting sponsor, Bound. At Bound, we're dedicated to making the lives of athletic directors easier with a fully integrated software platform designed to streamline operations. Bound brings everything together with a single unified schedule and 20+ powerful tools all in one seamless solution.
Thanks for having us on, Scott. It's going to be a good conversation. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so Lamarr, why don't you just start and just tell us a little bit about yourself and the school you're at and kind of a little bit about your athletic journey.
Okay. Lamarr Glenn, probably 19-year athletic administrator. I've had several stops along the way. I'm currently serve as the district athletic director for Fulton County Schools down here in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. Did a stint for about 9 years as AD in Florida, moved to Georgia in my 11th year here in Georgia. Again, second year as the district AD here in Fulton. So it's been a journey. I think my mind gets a little clogged up with all the rules and bylaws, and I'm mixing states and all that. So I'm still doing that, but it's been a great journey. So blessed to be able to serve kids in this capacity, to serve our communities in this capacity.
Yeah, thank you. Steve, how about you?
Awesome. Well, I was a teacher coach for 17 in a small school, then a big school. So I am now at Millard South High School. We have 2,400 students. I've been in this role for 12 years as assistant principal and activities director. I was at Sergeant Bluff Luton High School for 3. That was my first AD job back in the day. And so I was there for 3 and then came back here to Millard South and have been here for the last 12. So 15 overall. Love every minute. I love the platform I have to work with coaches and students and try to grow people. That's it. So Millard South's been a great spot for me to do that, and Sergeant Bluff.
Yeah, what a great segue here, Steve. And, there's just such a huge emphasis on leadership development, character education. And I was just actually on the phone yesterday with Coach Dennis Parker. He's a football coach from down Texas. He's 83 years old now. And he'd said this to me yesterday, and it just kind of slapped me across the face yesterday. But he was like, when I started figuring out that I wasn't coaching football and I was coaching kids, everything changed for me. My success in the way I coach kids and teaching them life lessons through sport was what really changed the trajectory of his career. So with that in mind, just to kind of spark off the conversation, there's a study by the Aspen Institute that said 78% of high school athletes report that their sports experience helped them develop their leadership skills that they use later on in life in their personal and professional lives. So with that being said, Steve, how do you integrate leadership development and character education into your programs? And what outcomes have you seen in terms of student athlete success, both on and off the field?
We do a lot with our student leaders within our programs and our activities. The big piece is I keep making sure that our coaches do this and our sponsors do this, give kids a chance to lead. Too many times we say, we want you to be a leader. You need to be a leader, but then we don't ever really give them a chance to be a leader other than to pick what uniform we're going to wear and whether we're going to go heads or tails or whatever. So finding ways to give them a chance to do actions and be a leader and have a voice. I think sometimes the challenge with our students right now is I want to hear a student voice, not my voice. And so when we have our student leadership meetings and stuff, and we've had in the past, we would really work with them leading the meeting, with them speaking. If I talk too much, then that's not a great meeting. So really trying to get them, because that's who's going to speak for you as a coach when you're not in that locker room or on that bus or wherever in a team huddle, that they're going to speak the language you want them to speak to the team. And so I think it's so important to give them, even like ownership in our football group right now, they're lifting, they have groups and they have leaders and they have a community of kids that's part of their group, and really help make those kids work with each other and communicate, because communication is the key.
Yeah, no doubt. You said, I love the fact that you said that those kids have a voice. So many times I feel like winning kind of overshadows everything, and we kind of forget about the fact that we're actually just teaching kids and how important that is that we remember that. So Lamarr, with that being said, jump in on this question here. How have you, integrated that leadership development, character education, and now in your role as a district athletic director, I mean, that takes on an entirely different kind of scope for you.
Yeah. So, as a local school AD in the past, it was similar to Steve, hearing from those kids. We used to have the, student leadership advisory council at my schools, making sure that, we hear the voice of the students, right? We hear those student athletes. And again, we want them to be leaders, but how do they become leaders? That takes development. And it's no different than coaching them on the field. We're just coaching them off the field in a different realm. And so, those are some of the things. And now in my role now, I more so am coaching the local school ADs and getting with them on, okay, what type of leadership and character development things are we doing with our students? Our Georgia High School Association, they do a big student advisory meeting each year, or like twice a year. So ADs, are you sending a couple of students to this, right? To help in their leadership development, help in that character development. A lot of our coaches are, which I'm very proud of, and is doing things at the local elementary schools and within their school communities, teaching them how to lead, because these younger siblings and kids and elementary age kids are looking up to them, right? They're at the games on Friday nights. And so, all right, there's nothing for you to go and have them read, once a week to those kids, right? That is also developing their leadership and their character, because again, we know character is what you're doing when nobody's watching. And
Yes.
so I think they start to become, I think a lot of the high school kids, when they go to do those things, they start to see like, I didn't know this little kid was watching me. So it makes them more conscious and more aware of their actions on and off the field. Like, let me act this way at the restaurant now, right? As opposed to me going in, being a Yahoo, walking out on the bill, different things like that. So those are some of the things that we're pushing big time. And I have coaches and ADs make sure they're publicizing this on social media for
Yeah, sure. Yeah, both of you mentioned something I just think is so important. And I think even more so today, like, back when I started, Lamarr, Steve, you too, like every single coach was typically in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Now 70% of our coaches come to us nationwide, come to us from outside of the school. Yes. So I feel like that's, just led to another layer of how, as an athletic administrator, we need to be intentional when we're talking about how we're trying to teach our coaches to teach these life skills through sports. And Steve, you mentioned something I think about all the time with this, and we tell these kids, we want you to be leaders. We want you to go out, but we don't really give them the tools or the toolbox to go out and do that. So, the fact that both of you are implementing, leadership training, life skill training through this amazing platform of education-based athletics that allows our kids to overcome adversity and really face this stuff head on, whether it's on the court or in practice or dealing with, I have kids all the time come in to our leadership conference and like, well, gosh, I don't like coach is mean or coach is this. I'm like, you're going to have a boss someday that you're not going to like. You can't just quit. You can't just quit. You got to overcome it or figure a way to make that work. And I talk to our parents about that all the time too. So maybe Steve, coming back to you, how do you then go and now you've implemented these programs? How do you keep kids engaged with this? How do you incorporate your coaches to make sure that this, permeates throughout your department?
You bet. And the other day I had a chance to listen to Becky Hammond, Coach Becky Hammond of the LA Lake Aces, speak on the Global Community of Women's Roundtable, and she made a great comment about culture and about character. She said, "Your culture is your character." That character that you have as an individual, teammate, coach, whoever, that's going to be your culture. So you can say you're going to do all these different things from a culture standpoint, but all is going to come back to character. So if that's the case, we have to continue. We're Patriots, or the Millard South Patriots. If we have better character Patriots that are great character people, we have better Patriots, we're going to have better teams. We're going to have better culture in our program. So how do we do that? I think the biggest thing for us is we've got to reinforce what we want to see. If a kid's working at, we have the Patriot way, and there's 8 pillars to it, and one of them is to outwork people, one is to be a great teammate. There's many more of them, but if that's what we say we are and what we stand for, then when we see it, we got to praise it. We got to say, yeah, we got to get after it. We got to make sure that people know, hey, that's what we stand for. Because if you focus on those 8 pillars that we have, you're going to be okay. Because it's respect others. It's be service minded and be a great communicator. And compete. I think sometimes, some people think when you say compete, they think it's a negative word. No, you can compete with character. Yeah. But we need to shine the light on what we want our kids to do and how we want them to act. And when they do, we got to celebrate it. We got to say, hey, this is what we're all about.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I love it when we talk about, because as ADs, the work that you do in the dark is what allows the bright lights to shine on our kids, whatever night of the week that is, whether that's on the court, whether that's on the stage, in the pool, on the field. And that's, what I really, truly love about our profession is our ADs are going out there doing the work that nobody else sees, nobody else knows about, so that those kids have that opportunity. And I love that about our profession.
Yes.
So Lamarr, what about you? How are you, again, just bringing those kids in? How are you working with coaches to make sure, just like Steve had talked about, that those pillars are getting lived every day, and how are you celebrating that?
Well, again, like I said, it's different because I'm at a 50,000 foot view.
Right. Yeah.
And so a lot of my development is developing the local school ADs and just trying to enforce, hey, are we doing this or are we doing that? One of the things that I'm doing, and it's not really, it hasn't taken effect yet, but working on some different campaigns for our school districts as far as starting to celebrate coaches, right? Like a coach of the month, right? I'm getting a company to try to sponsor that. Trying to do more of a, student athlete of the month as well. That way I can go around to the different schools, maybe give out, reward kids, celebrate those kids that are doing these things on and off the field. And I think that goes, again, like you said, celebrating, kids and showing the appreciation for their efforts is always key. And like I said, there are some great tools out here that we hear about as, Positive Coaching Alliance and, different things. A Better Way Athletics has come onto the scene now and to help with those character and leadership development skills.
Yeah. You said something there I think is so important, and they talk about this in the research all the time. We need to celebrate their effort.
Yes.
It doesn't always need to be the outcome. It doesn't always need to be the trophy.
Right.
Let's celebrate their effort. And that's how kids continue to grow. And that's how they have that growth mindset is to celebrate that effort. Awesome. Great discussion there. And now all 3 of us have been seasoned ADs. So this will probably really resonate with all 3 of us here. But, when I wrote my book, Selling a Passion, they talk about the importance of fundraising and athletic development that has happened over the last 30 years. And I was reading an article in it was Coach and AD magazine, and it was 25 to 30% increase in operational, costs just over the last few years. So how are you in your athletic departments continuing to fundraise? With many athletic departments, according to research, show that over 60% of the money that they spend on their programs does not come from institutional money. It comes from money outside, whether it's fundraising, whether it's corporate sponsorship, whatever that might be. But our athletic directors are continuing to have to be innovative and creative in this space. So what are you doing within your booster clubs, your athletic department, to really adapt to this, increasing need to have fundraising within your departments? What kind of innovative strategies are you using to go out and raise funds for your department so that you can provide these kids these amazing experiences? Lamarr, let's start with you.
Well, one of the things in my district is kind of unique because all of my schools, the 15 high schools, they have their own sports stadiums and sports facilities. So there's not a lot of top-down fundraising from my central office. Although I do look at, deals, with some of our big corporations such as Nike. We have an all-district deal with Nike, which benefits our schools in a sense, because there's comp dollars that we get. There's advantages to doing a district deal. But as far as the actual fundraising, the majority of our schools collect a small participation fee, and it's not a pay to play, but it's a participation fee, and they can't go over a certain dollar amount, right? Booster clubs is big in fundraising for our schools. So a lot of it, unfortunately, like you said, the schools are getting more of the corporate sponsors, right?
Yeah.
They're getting the sponsorships. They're going out getting the sponsorships, working with different local vendors around the community to help fund their programs. Now, not to say that the district office does not help or pitch in.
Yeah,
because we do. But for the most part, it's done at the local school level.
Yeah, it's so much different now, Lamarr. Like
Yes.
when I first got into this, it was, man, we're going to go out and sell brownies and we're going to go wash some cars.
Right.
And inevitably I'd be driving by and I'd be like, I don't want to even drive by a car wash and see what our kids are wearing.
Yep.
When you got a big 300-pound lineman wearing a Speedo, a leopard print Speedo, you're like, okay, this,
Right.
now I got to stop.
Just shake that vision out of my mind.
That's right. That's right.
I think the worst fundraiser I ever did was at the Catholic school. Was the guy comes in and says, you're going to sell light bulbs and everybody needs them, so let's sell light bulbs. I still probably have 6 boxes of light bulbs in my basement, so those did not go well. Do not sell light bulbs.
Oh, goodness.
I'm not buying it from you. So I think the big thing for us right now is really to look and working with coaches and saying, let's make sure that we're ordering and using what we need. Yeah. And so that we can maximize our dollars. Obviously, our booster club, we have one booster club that oversees all of our programs. They're the lifeline. I mean, they go out and we have a craft fair, a fireworks stand, we have a Patriot Bash. We do those things, and those guys are the lifeline. But other funds that we get, obviously, we're like Lamarr too. We get some of that district money where we can charge kids a little bit for participating, gate concessions. Those are all important too. But the other thing is the digital sign. Is a big thing right now. Obviously, we have Score Vision, so we're using that. Money's there to try to help offset some things too, and get people to advertise with us. But it's everything. The different systems of technology that we use all cost more now too. And so we're lucky that our district pays for our huddle. I mean, because that's $20,000 a year that we love and need, but the district pays for that. So some of those partnerships too. But we're banners on fences, and softball, baseball. We look like NASCAR at times, and we're trying but we'll take dollar bills from wherever they come to help our programs. And we're doing a little bit more too on the fundraising piece that's kind of taken off with the hour-a-thons where you're asking people. Yep. I'm not a big fan of that, but sometimes people want to donate directly to the program their child is participating in. And sometimes that, those monies are good to have too, to buy some things that make your program look even better.
Yeah. And I don't know that people understand or realize that the power of our high school programs have in the community. how visible they are, how, you know, when I wrote my book, I got all these great little tidbits that helped me actually be a better fundraiser for my school. But it said 77% of businesses are more likely to support your high school because of the fact that your people, if they know that somebody in the community is supporting their athletic department, they're going to at a like 80% more likely to purchase a good or service from that company. I mean, those are just staggering numbers. And Steve, what made me remind me that you said NASCAR, that outpaces NASCAR even.
Yep. No, it's what we do. We find a way. You find a way to get the funds you need to make things work at a high level. But you're right. I mean, you look at softballs and baseballs, a perfect example, as you talk about that price has jumped dramatically.
Oh my God.
So when we say we need 50 dozen baseballs, you're like, oh, geez, that one hurts when it comes out of the wallet.
When we do our athletic benefit dinner, we actually put boards up that say, here's the price of a football helmet. Here's the price of a dozen baseballs. Here's the price. And people are like, a helmet costs $600? Yes.
Yeah.
A football costs $90? Yes.
Yeah.
And people don't even get it.
Yeah, and they don't understand that public school, private school athletics, education-based athletics, what is going on in the local economy or the national economy? Fuel, right?
Yeah.
Buses.
Yeah.
Those buses kids are getting on, they take gas, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, those different costs drives what we're asking. Right.
Yeah.
What we need, the necessities to make this happen. And so some will ask, you know, I just did in my district this year, we did a $2 ticket increase. Right. So we went from $8 varsity football to 10. And, you know, you did have some people, well, why, you know, well, man, I understand fuel costs are up, you know, to run these lights in the gym, it costs. You know, grocery prices are up. You want your kids to have pregame meals? Yeah. You know, I mean, shoot, chicken wings are $2 a piece now.
Yeah. And the officials cost has gone up. The whole thing. It's just it's a terrible cycle right now that we don't get to control. So
exactly,
we have to find ways to meet those needs of our programs.
There's no doubt. And Steve, you talked about technology, and over the past, almost 3 decades I've been involved in this now. We've seen an explosion in the use of technology in high school sports and management and ticketing, from scheduling platforms to communication tools. How has technology impacted your ability to lead and manage your athletic department?
Well, that's a great question. I think the hardest part is technology is wonderful when it works. When it doesn't work, everybody turns to the AD and say, fix it.
Right.
You're not an IT guy. I guess troubleshooting. So the days of plug and play on that board in your gym is no longer. It's the internet and Wi-Fi and Mac minis and other stuff that runs the board. And so, you're at the mercy of support from the different groups that you purchase services through. And it's been really good on that end. But that to me is the biggest challenge is things are great technology wise when they work, and they make your event so much better. Videos and the sound and the graphics that you can make. And I'm lucky because I've got some people in our building, Nikki Patterson, Bryce Trout, guys, people like that, and our students that make great graphics and videos. But that's a skill I don't have, and so I have to go find people who have that skill and then reinforce that how great they are and praise them and pay them and do whatever I have to keep them doing that, because my graphics are going to look a little bit different, a lot different. So that to me is the biggest challenge, because some of those skills we don't have, or we don't have it at that elite level that we'd like to be. And so you have to find ways to overcome that. Yeah.
There's so many different, technology tools people are using now too. So it gets overwhelming at times. And I don't think people realize all the different technologies that athletic directors have to know and know how to use it. It's become mind-boggling. Steve, you just said something that hit me. I was like, and can you imagine anybody running a wrestling meet anymore, doing it the way we used to do it back when it first started? Like I started all right, we need to print bout sheets and they're like, what? what are you talking? Track meet? Like,
Yep, track meet.
no one knows. I mean, I'm a little worried, like if our technology breaks down, I mean, a lot of times it's like, oh, we're going to hold off and just wait till it works again. And I always am, like maybe, I don't know, over prepared, but I'm like, I'm ready for it to go down. What do we need to do? And I go back to old school, like 1996 old school.
Get the spreadsheets ready. Let's
Right,
go.
that's right. We get the Excel spread. I remember I was talking to somebody that I don't even remember if anybody remembers Microsoft Access. I was using that to run our track meets back in, like 1999. So it's a completely different time now.
And when I was at Sergeant Bluff, we had the handheld that came off a box that they could do, and
that little Sprint 8
timers and pickers. I need timers and pickers.
Hey,
there's been some great technology that you don't need that anymore, but at the same time, you go back to that track wrestling. Think about your seating meetings now; they're like 10 seconds. Here it is.
I know.
Criteria's already in there. You can't argue. It is what it is.
Used to be an hour and a half meeting just to see the wrestling tournament.
No doubt. Takes out the debate. Can't really
That's
debate
right.
as coaches.
I know. Well, they could still debate it though, Coach. They'll still debate it.
That's true. We did have that.
Wrestling's wrong. It's wrong.
Right.
Lamarr, how about for you?
Well, technology it's been huge in my district, being a large district. They're again, like Steve, man, it's great when it works, right?
Yeah.
But if we have a breakdown, it can be very frustrating and very, difficult to get everybody back, back up and running. But as far as with our school district, we do use a uniform platform for scheduling and housing student registrations and things of that nature, which has been huge. But then when you go to, again, like Steve, with the scoreboards and things like that, the digital scoreboard, we just put like half of our district, we just put in new football scoreboards. And it's funny because you have different levels, because some schools have gotten it. They've gotten like a student, or they've gotten a teacher that's great with that stuff, great with that type of technology. They've learned from the company, hey, here's how you put this graphic on the board, that graphic. Then I may go to another stadium where they haven't quite figured it out. Right.
I get it. I understand it.
Yeah.
So it's just like the logo's up there the whole game, right? It doesn't change, which is fine. It is totally fine. But again, technology is driving a lot. With the NFHS network and the Pixelite cameras, I think that's great, right? And then, now coaches are wanting the huddle focus, right? Because now that camera can automatically come on. I can trade right after the game. I can, do all these things. And so I think the technology in education-based athletics, it has grown definitely over the years, but it's been great. I think it's the best thing for what we're doing right now. I don't really have any qualms about the amount of technology. But again, like you guys were talking about wrestling, and you have track wrestling, you have, all these different platforms now that you can use. And it, like I said, it's great for me. I don't know. I made a post probably last week. I have several schools playing in state basketball.
I saw your post.
And so I'm at a school, and then I'm checking in on like 3 or 4 other games but it's a blessing to be able to do that on NFHS and look in on these other games. Because I have no assistant AD or anything like that. So it's just me. And so I'm at a game looking in on other games, which is great. And I think the technology has been great for this profession.
Yeah. And this kind of melds back and forth, and the struggle that I've had with technology is that I've got to learn 18 different platforms.
Right.
Like you were saying, Lamarr and Steve, like, so something breaks down, the video board goes down. How are you gonna fix this? Or, you're at a swim meet and like, oh, high tech's not working. And they're like, oh, so then I feel like I need to know all these different things. And that's what I've always struggled with. So like I always tell everybody, it's good when it works, but who do I call when it doesn't work?
No doubt.
And are they gonna pick up the phone to answer my call when it's not working?
Right.
And that is always the fear that I have. And so now for me, anything with technology, if I can trust the entity that I'm working with, that they're going to answer and they're going to pick up and they're going to help me fix that problem, that is worth its weight in gold to me.
No doubt about it. We had our shot clocks this season have kind of gone off and on at times. And so the other night, last game of the year, last district game, we're hosting, the shot clock goes down. So I go over because everybody just turns and looks at me. And I go over, hit a couple things, and it finally popped back on. The dad behind me, who gives me static every time the shot clock goes down. What'd you do? I said, I just kept pushing buttons till it worked again. He goes, you were almost ready to hit power off, power on. I said, wasn't there yet, but it was close. So
yeah,
that's my fix-it ability. Just keep hitting buttons till it works again, and then pop back on. But yeah, it's great technology.
So Lamarr, let me go back to you. If there was one thing in your role as an athletic administrator, if there was a new technology that was going to fix a problem for you, what would you want it to be right now?
Ooh,
I'm glad you went Lamarr first.
gosh.
I love it.
Fix one problem for me.
I mean, what is something you're struggling with right now that you're like, gosh, man, if I could just take this off my plate and it was just done, what would that be right now that technology could help with?
I would say, again, as you talked about earlier, the amount of non-faculty coaches that we all deal with,
Mm-hmm.
if I could have just one system within my district to where, because I have to go through a contracting department, accounts payable department, my secretary charting paperwork, along with the school bookkeeper and business manager, all doing 4 to 5 different aspects of that community coach process.
Mm-hmm.
I could have everybody using one tool and being able to log in and check a box that they're supposed to check.
Yep.
And payment for that coach is submitted. That would solve a lot of problems.
Lamarr, call me. I can help you out.
I like it.
You call me, I can help you out, man.
He's got something for you.
I got something for you. Rowan, how about you?
I think the biggest thing this is technology. I don't know if it's technology, but my biggest thing right now is we've added some new sports to our platform and to our athletic department. So I need facilities. I need space. And so I would need something, whether it's technology, it's going to help me do that to manage space. But we maximize space here. We've got kids running in hallways and cafeterias, cheers and cafeterias and hallways. And I just need space. So anything I can do, if technology can help me do that, I will take that. But we just need more flexible space so we can get more kids in and out at an earlier time, and coaches too.
Yeah, it's always, and that's our next question that's coming up too, is just, we've had this increased, participation from girls over the last 30 years. I mean, it's like a 30, almost a 30% increase in the last 30 years of female sports. And, it's been notable. There's a huge rise in girls' participation in sports. Girls wrestling has exploded. Girls flag football has exploded. Steve, for you, how has that explosion of, not just girls sports, but maybe just sports in general, and the increase of sports that we offer through our schools, how has that affected your role as an athletic administrator? And what do you see next in that growing interest, especially on the girl side?
You bet. And I think that the biggest challenge, we've added bowling, we've added girls wrestling. Those are two, and then unified sports, which are all fantastic. The challenge for us would be more on the bowling side, where you're going to have to pay somebody to use their facility, and that cost of having to use that facility, that's been a big challenge for us because it's expensive. And so the good thing though with bowling is that's a whole group of kids that probably weren't doing anything else. And if they were, there wasn't very many of them. So that's great that group has an avenue. Girls wrestling has taken off for us. We've got about 30 girls. It's just fantastic. Our coach does a great job. And the unified stuff is fantastic and has been awesome in our building and for a long time. But I think the biggest thing for us coming next, I don't know, people in our area want to say it's lacrosse, but I think it's going to be girls flag football. Yeah. I really do. I think it's going to be, but it's just like, where do you put it? And how do you make sure it doesn't affect another sport from the girls' gender, or from the girls' side of things? Because in our state, we're a volleyball state all of a sudden, and we've got a lot of high-level volleyball, which is great.
Yes, you do.
But it's affected girls' basketball. Those numbers are down. Girls' wrestling has affected girls' basketball. I mean, we've had some programs that have closed down their programs because of it. So we've got to find ways to meet the needs of all of our programs and build all of them. So we just need to keep getting girls involved at an early age and get them excited and keep them going in all avenues.
Yeah, Steve, you made a great point there. And so this was a 2008, probably. We started lacrosse when I was at Burnsville Egan Savage, when I was district AD up there. And I actually put together a rubric that talked about all those things. When you're adding a new sport, how's it going to affect other sports? Do we have the facility, like you talked about? Do we have enough space to have the sport? Do we have the funds to do it? Are we going to comply with Title IX if we add this new sport? So there's so many things to think about when you're adding a new sport, and sometimes it just gets dumped on you. No additional funding, just like make it happen, Steve. Make it happen, Lamarr. Lamarr, you got your 17 schools, 19 schools. Like, you're adding a new sport. You're adding 19 new sports. Figure it out. How are we going to do that? It just becomes increasingly tough to do that when they're saying there's no extra money. When's the last time either of you got a bump in your athletic budgets?
Been a while. They give bumps. People get bumps. I didn't know.
I just get cuts. I don't ever get any. I don't ever get any more money.
For years, hey, we need to cut 5. We need to cut 5% here, 5% there. So
absolutely crazy. Well, as we wrap up today, Lamarr, just to give us just some parting, thoughts, on the evolution of education-based athletics over the last 30 years, and where do you see, high school athletics going in the future?
Well, I mean, we've grown so much over the last 30 years, and with the evolution of female sports now, and I just feel like even the female gender is just, they're catching up, right? They are, like, I'm sitting here watching the girls basketball state Final Four, and I'm seeing girls, they're shooting lights out. And just the evolution of female sports altogether is really taking education-based athletics to a different level. Here in Georgia, flag football has come onto the scene, and it is huge. I came from Florida, where it was huge. So I think now, right now, where we're headed is it's in a great great direction. I think we're high school athletics, again, is the purest form of what we have. We all see what's going on with NCAA, with college athletics. It is becoming, it's all business. It is all about the check that is cut and nothing else. Mm-hmm. And so I think we, as athletic administrators on this level, we have to try to keep this as pure as possible. Mm-hmm. We have to continue to, we have to continue to evolve. Yes. We've got 42, 43 states that are now diving into this NIL world. Mm-hmm. And in various shapes and forms. And like I said, that's only going to get, more convoluted and more popular as the years go on. But I think that we're still going in the right direction. I think we're still in a great place as it pertains to interscholastic athletics. And I think as for the future of athletic administration, our responsibilities, our jobs now become even more important to society. It really does.
Steve, how about for you?
No doubt. I think Lamar's hit so many things right on the head too. I think the big piece for us is to continue to be the ones that's championing education-based athletics. Because too many times people are trying to make it go a different direction. So it's so important that we continue to champion that. But I also think as we look at students, we look at coaches, I speak to myself directly when I say this, we have to keep doing things that grow those two groups of people. Whether it's professional development, whatever it is, we have to continue to find ways to grow those, teach them, because sometimes those skills that we used to get that were taught to us as youngsters was built into the community of people that we had around us that supported us. Not all of our kids have that support. So how do we continue to teach them the right way to do things, whether it's behavioral or skill development wise, and give them the opportunity to be successful? And I think the biggest thing for us is how do we eliminate the barriers that get in the way of our students and our teachers and our coaches to be successful? We've got to remove those. And that's what our biggest task is. And I think we're always going to fight the club aspect. So how do we work with the clubs? Because I'm the thing that drives me crazy now is my three kids were all multi-sport, 3-sport type kids.
Yep.
Or at least 2, and we're losing that element of a multi-sport. Multi-sport now means 2, maybe. And so how do we continue to get kids without burning out, without them being stressed, and still be successful as a student first? How do we get them to stay involved? Because that involvement, I say it all the time. Parents are like, there's kids up here at school till 10 o'clock. I would rather them be at Millard South High School than Burger King, working at Burger King. I have no idea who's working with them. Nothing against Burger King, but I don't know who the people that are around them that are influencing them, as we talked about all this whole time, is character. I don't know who's influencing their character. I want the people in our building, myself, to be the one that are influencing that character. So I think that's our biggest task, to keep we got to wave that flag for educational-based athletics and activities.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us today. That's a wrap for today's forum on the evolution of education-based athletics. We've covered the major shifts in high school athletics and how athletic directors are rising to meet these challenges head on. Remember, your leadership sets the foundation for growth and excellence in your programs. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring conversations. Until next time, keep driving change and pursuing greatness.
Thanks, Scott.
Hey, thank you.